that the words proposed to be omitted stand part of the question. I call the member for Goldstein.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And Deputy Speaker, my remarks on this legislation will be brief, but it's nonetheless to rise to support it and its objectives around making sure that those who seek to come to Australia to pursue their opportunities for education are able to do so in a flexible framework, and the government recognises and respects the visa classes and arrangements necessary for them to be able to do so. Because when I speak, Deputy Speaker, to people in the Goldstein electorate, as is true in any other part of the country, more than anything else, when Australians think about those who come to this country, what they want is the foundations to be laid to be good and responsible contributors to our country. And of course, education is a critical pathway that Liberals have always understood is essential to the development of successful and responsible individuals to be able to support themselves and their families. And we've, of course, seen the potential of education not just as an empowerer of people, but also, of course, an empowerer of a sector of the economy to be part of the strength of export industries that can provide assistance and support and a mutual benefit to Australians as well. But currently we have legislative restrictions which raise questions and doubts about the eligibility for people to be able to access the higher education loan program based on their different visa classes. And what we want is to make sure that those Australians who are here, who have started the pathway to securing education using that program, the structures exist to respect their decisions and their choices to be able to study and learn and take on the responsibility of the cost as it shifts with different visa classes consistent with the legislative framework this parliament has written out. And of course that means, particularly for permanent humanitarian visa holders, that it provides pathways for them to continue to engage with education so they can go on and build themselves up and harden their contribution and capacity to be able to contribute not just to themselves in Australia, but of course wherever their life takes them. But also, of course, it provides a pathway for security for our great tertiary institutions to be able to attract students who can utilise the knowledge and the skills that they can provide to provide a basis for engagement with a cohort of students who might otherwise be denied. And this is at the foundation or the principle in which Liberals have always approached education, which is to see and to drive excellence in outcomes, to see and drive opportunity in terms of the structures of education so that it's accessible for everybody, but also to address issues of equity so that those people who may be denied or held back have pathways to utilise education for their own success. This government is adaptable to the changing circumstances that people face when they're in Australia or when they take temporary or pathways out of the country, and for them to be able to be eligible to secure an education that follows. And with the other members in this chamber, that is the foundation in which I support this bill, because we want to see, and for those people who come to Australia, to be able to realise the fullness of their ambition. Because when they do so, wherever their life takes them, including through to pathways ultimately of citizenship, the strength of our country is but the sum of our people. And if we have strong citizens, we have strong families. If we have strong families, we have strong communities. If we have strong communities, we have a strong nation. And that is the foundation of a Liberal vision for this country, one built on the foundations of strength, anchored in citizens, families and communities, not from those fiddling from Canberra down. And that's why this legislation is important, because of what it will enable and what it will empower. And that is what we wish to continue to see into the future. I commend the bill to the House.